very good Wednesday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And I'm delighted today to be joined by Kysha Reid. And it's very fortuitous that Kysha and I are meeting this morning because we met at CNN. And we have both just heard the news, very sadly, that the founder of CNN, Ted Turner, has just passed away at 87. So Kysha, we thought this was a good way to begin our conversation today, given that Ted Turner played such a big part in both of our lives.
Yes, he really did, and a lot of other lives as well. It's a bittersweet day, Nadia. We just bringing back the memories of us at CNN, and he really brought Big J journalism to CNN for so many years. And sadly, he's passed away. He was 87, right?
Was 87, and I always think about arriving in Atlanta, Georgia in 1997 and going to audition for the CNN Airport Network. And at that point, Ted was still very much part of CNN. So I got to meet him many times, as I'm sure you did. And the last time I actually saw him in person was at his 80th birthday party. So that was 7 years ago. I got to see him at his 80th birthday party, and the team I had at CNN at the time, we did a wonderful interview with him. And although he had been diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, he was very lucid, and we had a wonderful conversation and interview, and he was his irreverent, rather interesting self. But I did get to see him on that day. But again, forever grateful as someone coming from another country to come to America, to come to Atlanta, to work at CNN International, and get to meet so many people, and then to meet you when I worked at CNN Domestic. So a huge part, certainly, of my life, and just people I met, people I interviewed, people I worked with, and again, people like you.
He brought in so many journalists, an incredible team, and just thinking about the hours and how we worked and we came together and the best conversations. I mean, even when you get professionals together, we're not always going to agree, but that's TV, right? That's journalism. And that's what he assembled together. I'm reading articles about him now, and one person put, he was and always will be the presiding spirit of CNN. How true. So true.
So true. And what a different era we're in right now, where our conversation today, we didn't realize we were talking about Ted Turner because we got together to talk about AI. And I wanted to show you this video about a talk I recently gave on how do we make ourselves indispensable in an AI world. And if you're just joining us, I'm joined by my former CNN colleague, Kysha Reid. Fortuitous that we're meeting today, the day that we have just heard the news that Ted Turner has passed away at 87. But we're going to switch now to our conversation around artificial intelligence and how it's impacting our world, how it's impacting us, and how to make ourselves.
Recently had the pleasure of speaking to a large technology company at the Intercontinental Hotel in Times Square, New York. And the focus of this program was the fact that we're living in a volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, AI-focused world. And what are you doing in each and every interaction, every time you communicate, to ensure that you are indispensable?
So what are we doing to ensure that we're indispensable? And this is a thought on the top of so many people's minds. We've known there have been huge layoffs. So our conversation and our conversations to come are around really people and helping people assess what is going to make them indispensable. So let's begin talking about the skills that AI cannot replace.
And that word is so important when you think of what's indispensable in your life. Nadia, what do you think about? Health, family, what you do for a living? And that applies to all of us. But some of that, it just makes us wonder, especially as we go through things in the AI world, as you were saying, what's indispensable to us as far as once we meet over a job, or once we lose a job, once we acquire a job, a position, is that enough? Is there more? And what kind of indispensable people, characters, and traits do we look for in our own lives as well?
So true. Now, the talk you saw the clip of, I gave to a very large technology gaming company in New York. And when I asked the question, Kysha, which is when you think about your day-to-day interactions, minute by minute, day-to-day interactions and communication, what can AI not replace? And it was interesting because this very large audience came up with a plethora of things, obviously things like decision making. We think that our platforms, whether using chat or Grok or the multitude of other, or Claude, you think they're making a decision for you. They in fact are not. And then creativity, real creativity. And empathy came up a lot, and really being able to listen and understand and synthesize. So those are the things we're looking at. So the more I explore the topic of what's going to make you indispensable in an AI focused world, it comes down to the ability to present information in a very compelling way. More and more universities are saying, instead of essays, you need to deliver information, because that's something that AI cannot replace.
Yes. And when I think of indispensable, I think of doing something with consistency, making yourself memorable. But consistency to me is key, because to be indispensable, you have to do something regularly and do it well, so that when your name comes up, people remember, Nadia, yes, Kysha, and they remember that consistent personality trait. Maybe you have a personality trait of always being on time, hard worker, always coming up with great ideas, always helping others. And that's part of being indispensable. Always
so interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
Because in my personal branding workshops, one of the questions I ask people is, if you're not at work, or if you are away for a period of time, what is the thing people miss most about you?
Oh, I love that.
So it was interesting because, we were having a rather humorous conversation. I said, well, when I worked at CNN, I always bought the team food because we worked so early in the morning. I loved feeding people and bringing them everything from bagels to favorite chocolate cake.
Yes.
But I laughed because when somebody filled in for me once, they said to me, Nadia, you must feed the team a lot, because they ask where the snacks are. What makes you indispensable? Kysha, I wanted to also talk to you about something you're doing at the moment, which is you're coaching people who are having AI interviews, and you yourself have had interviews with AI. So yes, AI is replacing the interviewer, but AI isn't replacing you as the interviewee.
It's really a strange phenomenon. It really is. It's wonderful, but it's weird. But you're embracing technology. And so I've had quite a few AI interviews, testing the waters, seeing what's out there. And Nadia, you have to, whether you're talking with AI, whether you're talking face-to-face with a person, it's still about connection, oddly enough. Even with technology, we have to be our authentic selves. We have to give details. We have to explain ourselves in conversations and details about our past work. These are some of the experiences I found to be true in AI interviews. So we're working with and coaching a number of people, and you can definitely look me up on my LinkedIn if you want to connect with me and inquire about those services. But it's really, you really have to be on your game. And a lot of people think that they can just talk really fast or gloss over an interview or not really prepare, but preparation is key. And again, being consistent and being your authentic self, even with AI.
And thinking about those AI interviews, when you have somebody interviewing you, it's easier to really connect and come across as animated. When you've got AI interviewing you, it's to remind yourself that eventually a person may be seeing that, I am assuming, and to remember to still have vocal intonation and still connect. And that becomes more difficult. So we are entering a whole new phase.
Yes, we are. And it's about not only connecting, as you said, but really engaging, because you don't know if there's someone on the other side of that AI. You don't know how the AI is grading you and if you're passed on to the next phase, but you do know in that moment, you have to be your true authentic self. You have to give details, because the AI definitely responds and questions you. It follows up on thoughts. It's a conversation, but it's with technology.
So I thought about this. I thought about right now, we are really training our brains to reframe. And it's easier for some people than others.
Yes.
Which was very humorous for me because, you know, we said about there used to be Dr. Google, now there's Dr. ChatGPT. And you said there's not only Dr. ChatGPT, that's for over 40-year-olds. There's Claude, there's you name it, right? And you date yourself if you only talk about ChatGPT.
There's stealth, right? There's so many platforms and out there, and you're able to connect. And some of them have different, you know, you can specialize. One is a great language models. Others you can look, you know, for research. Others have great ideas for earning extra income. So it really pays to learn what's out there for you and what plays best to your skills.
Kysha, it's such a pleasure to be talking to you. If you've just joined us, I'm talking to my former CNN colleague, Kysha Reid. She now coaches people to make sure they connect, even if the interview is conducted by a bot, which is easier for some people than for others. We came up, Kysha and I, with the 5-step model. We called it the index framework. And this was things you need to remember is, if you are going to be indispensable, you have to have insight. You have to think better. Yes. The N part of the index was the narrative. You have to be able to communicate powerfully. The D was delivery. You have to be able to execute relentlessly. And as Kysha just said, be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. And then, of course, something I speak about all the time is the E part of the index, which is emotional intelligence. AI cannot replace you when you are frustrated and you are dealing with conflict or a challenging conversation. And finally, the X, we came up with a little bit of a stretch, but was expandability, which is to adapt and grow and to stay curious, learn fast and unlearn faster. And for those of us who are X's and not millennials, Kysha, I think you are a whole generation younger than me, but we speak to you too. And I love what my friend Chuck Reeves says. You know, he's a sales guru. He says GI plus AI equals ROI, meaning genuine intelligence, plus AI equals return on investment.
I love that. That's true. And also, I was reading, and I think it's really important that one of the things else that makes us indispensable is to be a problem solver instead of creating problems. And those type of people are naturally indispensable. Everyone wants someone who's going to come to the table with an idea or a way of resolving an issue or solving a problem. Everyone wants that on their team. Everyone wants that. So that's definitely one of the things that we look for as we connect with AI. And it's not about losing our jobs. It's about becoming one with technology. Really, it is. And working alongside. It's just, technology is just like a coworker. You're not going to love the coworker all the time, but you're working towards the greater good. And with AI, we're really able to do that and so much more. I was talking with 2 friends this morning, Nadia, and they both mentioned how AI is helping them when they went to the doctor's office, and the AI notes. And I know your brother, a physician, and he was talking about that also. And I think that's great because it's helping the physicians and the doctors to help us.
There's no question, if it allows them to look you in the eye and pay more attention so they're not so busy taking notes, it's wonderful. What my brother, who is a cancer surgeon, said is that where it's hurting is people are self-diagnosing without all their history, and they coming in. It's very frustrating for physicians. And also he told the story about somebody who thought because of AI, they'd had a scan and it said they had some cyst on their pancreas. They then searched it and gave themselves a terminal diagnosis, which was not necessary, and all the panic that ensued. So we're all at a point where we're saying, how do we use it intelligently to augment what we are doing? But what I'm excited about is that, first of all, Kysha, you are coaching people who are being interviewed, whether by an individual in person, an individual virtually, or being interviewed by AI, and the pitfalls of that. So please reach out to Kysha if you're interested.
Yes, absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn, Kysha Reid. Please connect with me, and I can show you some of those pitfalls to avoid and really how to put your best foot forward, even though you're talking with a bot.
I love that. We need to come up with a catchy phrase with that. You're talking with a bot, what it is and is not. Kysha, the other thing is, you and I hope to interview people periodically talking about ways to make yourself indispensable. And we hope to interview individuals who'll talk about careers that are hiring and not firing. So all of those things remain very, very relevant. But we'd love to hear from you, if you can, whether you're on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube. Let's hear from you how you are making yourself indispensable, what questions you have, but also what concerns you have. Questions, concerns, and advice you have for others in making themselves indispensable as AI continues to explode. Kysha Reid, once again, what a pleasure to be with you. And on this day, this sad day that we've heard of Ted Turner's passing, and once again to Ted Turner's family, we're thinking of all of you, both his family, his CNN family, and people that he's impacted around the world, certainly us. So, as you said, the things AI can and cannot replace, and how we are going to continue to, I always think it is, are we riding the roller coaster of AI, Kysha?
I think we are, but what a ride it's been, and what a ride we have to go. No one can see the ending of this and how it's going to fare, but it's here and it's taking over in so many industries. We have to embrace it. We have to work alongside of it. And what better way is, well, you start with an interview. You start with the basic interview and how to conversate, how to communicate, and how to relate to a bot.
Conversate, relate, and conversate. I like this. In an AI world, your edge is not what you know. It's how you think, how you connect, and how you deliver. Kysha Reid, and I'm Nadia Bilchik. We look forward to bringing you more on what will make you indispensable.